Welcome to my latest podcast. My Just a View podcast is exactly that. It's just a view from me, Mike Foster, the Entrepreneur's Mentor. And for my podcast, I share my views on matters that I've observed, perhaps a selection of topics from the news, or thoughts off the back of conversations that I'm having with other entrepreneurs. And today's theme is What Matters, where I'll be sharing some thoughts around what I feel matters to entrepreneurs. So some of the areas I'll be covering today are your team, your work-life balance, your numbers, your mental health, and I'll give a view in terms of what I consider to be the ultimate focus for an entrepreneur. Now, you may have thought with my title today that I'd be giving a view around the Black Lives Matter campaign, and I guess I will cover it because it did lead to the title of this podcast today, but I will refrain from making too much of a comment because I feel whatever you say or whatever you write or whatever you comment could mean different things to different people, and you just have to be mindful and careful in terms of how others may interpret what you're saying. Personally, I'm really pleased that there is a collective voice now for rightful change. Certainly, I'm pleased that the protesting seems to have calmed down in many areas, and that such an imbalance has been highlighted once again. However, I am really annoyed that some of the views that catch the headlines are not perhaps what we need to be hearing. We're not hearing the campaign detail, for example, that we need to engage with. So I guess other things that are annoying me are how other groups have misled the protests and made them quite violent in cases, and how some high profile people have been using the campaign for their own profile raising, and how others are trying to erase part of our history. Now, I've just finished watching the excellent Sky documentaries around Muhammad Ali, and it feels to me that we're still talking about some of the same things that he was campaigning for many years ago. But my own view, if you like, is that we should all be listening. We should be listening to our own thoughts. We should be listening to our own opinions. We should be listening to the views, and we should be listening to the facts. And from this, we should be able to then learn through further discussion and reflection, whilst behaving at all times in the obvious right way for an inclusive society in everything that we do. Now, in business, that may be who we decide to work for. It may be who we attract to our business, who we interview, who we hire, who we promote, who we contract to supply us, or it could be who we engage with or how we react and treat people on a daily basis. But ultimately, I truly believe that together we can all be better. So as discussed, my latest episode of Just a View podcast, I'm going to provide 5 critical matters that I consider are top of list for entrepreneurs. And the first matter is to ensure that you have good people around you. And I'm sure you've heard this phrase before, and I'm sure you've seen this quoted before. But not just your employees, your wider team. So your subcontractors, your supply chain, customers, and your advisors. And for me, those that truly support you, they encourage you for the right reasons, and they truly want to work with you for your win as much as their own. And it's certainly an experience that I found over the last 25 years of being an entrepreneur myself, running my own businesses and advising many more. Now, one element of it, of course, is the contribution from somebody's skills and knowledge to you, but also the personalities that complement you, but also they bring innovation and creativity to your business for its development. And when I've seen this or experienced it myself, I truly believe it takes the business to another level. The second area is that old chestnut of the work-life balance. It's an area that I believe many struggle with, not just from a time perspective, but also from a definition of what is balance that they want. I've worked with a couple of entrepreneurs now that tell me they wanted work-life balance, and when we've drilled down, they've actually already got it because they're actually doing what they love doing, what they're passionate about doing, what their purpose is in life, and their family are engaged with that. Now, lockdown, for many of us, has perhaps been that intervention that we needed to realise how important work-life balance actually is. And it may have stopped many of us from doing those things that we now realise that we did not really need to be doing, whilst realising the true impact of spending time with those closest to us or doing the things that we really enjoy doing. And that impact would have been for us as much as it would have been for those that we're now spending more time with. And I'm certainly seeing that with my clients and their families. Area 3 is about having an understanding of the numbers in your business. Now, this for me is an area that is critical, and it's an area that I often cover in my video snippets and my blogs. So why does it matter? Well, firstly, in my view, it is critical to have an understanding of the numbers that are the key success drivers in your business. Now, that may be simply as the numbers that make up the sales in your business and drive the revenues. However, I do believe that most things in our business come back to a number in some way. So, for example, if we were looking at customer service, how would we measure customer service? Would it be that 9 out of 10 people will respond by saying that our service is exceptional? Or would it be looking from a delivery aspect that our logistics team are delivering all our products within 3 working days? So just a couple of examples how something like customer service can still come back to a number, and a number that can be measured. The other understanding of our numbers is cash and working capital. So what is the working capital in the business that you need to support your development plans? Now, in my view, growth is often stifled in businesses who just look at the cash in their bank account instead of their total assets, and thereby at the same time considering which assets will soon become cash, such as their debtors, or which assets can be leveraged to raise cash, such as their buildings. And by understanding that bigger picture of their asset value versus their liabilities, being mindful of the true investment they can make into the development of their business. The fourth matter I wanted to mention, and I believe is a big matter for entrepreneurs to consider, is our mental health. Now, business is easy, but it's not simple, and there are daily issues that could impact on our mental health. There's challenges, doubts, pressures, relationships. There's always decisions to be made. Now, this is something that from my personal experience, it's taught me. It's something I now know that I need to be more self-aware and open about mental health. Perhaps it's best explained if I share with you my personal experience, and it may be thought-provoking for you about how you are managing your own mental health. Now, I've always been the character that will work extremely hard. I like to achieve a lot in a week. I'm not afraid of long hours, and I'm always aiming high by continually pushing myself onto another step. However, when I experienced stress, for the first time, I kept fighting it, and I kept telling myself that I could handle the pressure and the demands that were being put on me, and not really realizing the impact it was making. However, when I truly experienced the stress, it gripped me, and it gripped me over a period of time. It wore me down. I felt that I wasn't able to be as productive as I had been. I found my emotions were extremely high, and I was perhaps overreactive. And I wasn't just tired, I was exhausted. So then from, I guess, my emotional perspective, I was regretting leaving the job that I'd left. I'd left behind a great team, a great boss, and an enjoyable role to, in the end, work for a business that, in reflection, didn't really respect their people. That made me, at that time, start to question other decisions I was making, and therefore I started not trusting myself to make a decision, just in case it was the wrong decision again. But I tried to stick with it. But I was also disappointed that I'd let myself down by following that interest and encouragement in the first place. I also felt that I'd let other people around me down. I was working all hours, so I had to stop and give up temporarily my football coaching. I'd stopped watching my children after school lessons like swim lessons, and I'd certainly missed the school play for the first time in my children's life. And certainly my relationships with my partner and my good friends had changed also. And I can now reflect how it was a lonely and a dark place, so much so that on 3 occasions I considered the most selfish thing I could have done as a solution for myself at that time. My employer had identified how unwell I was, but the pressure was still relentless and unsupported. They didn't really know how to manage it or even approach me, except a board member pointing towards a poster on the back of a door that had a helpline on it. Disappointingly, it was just another organisation ticking a box for training and doing something politically correct, but not really taking the issue seriously. Obviously, that's just a view, of course. So please be mindful of your mental and your physical health. As I said earlier, I was exhausted, not just tired, and after resigning with no plan and no real role to take me forward, I just needed to stop. But it did take me after that period 10 weeks to recover to some sort of positive level of energy and to feel positive about the future. In my introduction, I mentioned that the ultimate focus of an entrepreneur, and that I'll share my view. And this, in my view, is innovation, creativity, and sales. Now, it may feel or sound strange to link all those 3 things together, but I have for a good reason. In my view, innovation and creativity fuels the ideas, business model, and the vision for our business as entrepreneurs. But it is something that is often the natural makeup of an entrepreneur. And many entrepreneurs have innovation and creativity flowing through them. However, sales can often be forgotten. So why do I think this? Well, from my experience, some entrepreneurs believe that they have the innovation and creativity to produce that die-for product or service that everyone needs, and that they then have the belief that it will just sell itself. Now, admittedly, some things do just sell themselves if you have the right thing at the right time, but most businesses need a proactive sales approach to drive the revenues that we need. And those revenues may be needed often to enable the business to deliver the full vision of the entrepreneur that such an innovative and a creative approach has created. So, yes, be innovative, yes, be creative, but be mindful of the sales and the revenue generation at all time. As you develop your product, make sure you're developing your customer relationships and those that are likely to buy from you. Now, if these matters resonate with you, then you may be interested that I've shared some further thoughts that I've then captured into a couple of ebooks for entrepreneurs. The first one is 21 tips for entrepreneurial success, and the second is my A to Z to help you grow your business. And both of these are available via my website, entrepreneursmentor.co.uk/growing-your-business. That's entrepreneursmentor.co.uk/growing-your-business. And you can find it in the Growing Your Business section under my free resources. So thank you for joining me for this latest podcast. I hope you found the topics and my views to be thought-provoking and helpful with your thoughts in the development of your own business. And I look forward to sharing further views with you next time in my podcast, Just a View.